Hey everybody, welcome to another quick episode of That Gecks Out. I wanted to get on here because I've noticed a lot of bad shipping habits lately. And as somebody who definitely ships out a lot of animals every year, but also I buy a lot of animals or I trade animals and I have them shipped to me. When something happens that I know is wrong, I think it's probably the more diplomatic way is to start gathering up several different items and build content as opposed to call out a bunch of people and say, hey, this person equals bad. I don't see the point in doing that because I don't know. What I'd like to do instead is go over a couple of things with you and basically talk about the different ways that you can ship safely and have a little bit better of an understanding on how things go. You can see here that I utilize Morph Market shipping. Um, as for whatever boxes in the future, when it's time to buy boxes, I'm probably going to get mine through Morph Market as they are my new shipping preference. However, if you have your old boxes from different brand names, I know that there was some fine print that said blankety blank. That is all nothing. Just ignore it completely. You don't have to print out Morph Market pieces of paper and tape them to the side of the box. You can use the boxes you have. And even though they are exchanging boxes or sending boxes or whatever it is, it doesn't change what I've said. You can use whatever box you have. You can create a box, insulate it, right on the side of it all on your own, and it'll ship just fine. I think you should probably go with the ones that other people put together for you. So that's point number one. Use whatever box you have that's standard and in good condition. The next one is I made up this name and address. I picked the zip code 91104 because going from where I'm at in Columbia, Missouri to Pasadena, California is going to be a pretty expensive ship in most cases. Now, the really neat thing about Morph Market right now in the present time that I'm making this video is that they have a lot of discounts, which everybody's been grateful for what, like a year now. It's been awesome. Hopefully stuff like this sticks. And I wanted to show you something. If you have a 9 by 9 by 9 box, typically a lot of folks get the 777s, the 886, or the 999. And those are the smaller beginner boxes for one animal. The 999, you could put two or three if you get them in the smaller containers. And with the weight up to 3 pounds, you'll see here that it's going to be a total of $56.51 to ship that out. Now, I picked 3 pounds instead of 1 pound or 2 pounds because if you have one gecko in that box, it's going to weigh a pound, maybe two. Pick 3 pounds just to show you the difference here. But what I wanted to show you, animals need space and they also need the temperatures in those boxes to not necessarily be right on top of them. And we're going to get to that in just a second. But if you take a 12 by 9 by 6 box, which is a very standard box that most people use, okay? Same 3 pounds. Bring it on down. It's going to recalculate. It's actually just about $6 cheaper, if not $7 cheaper, to do a bigger box. That gives you more space. You can ship more animals in that box and up to 3 pounds. But I wanted to also show you this. If you change that to 4, you'll start to get differences in prices, maybe. $49.55, 4 pounds. So now you're up to 4 geckos in that box. Now we're going to go up to 5 pounds. And we're going to do this until we see a difference in price. $49.55. You can send this standard 12 by 9 by 6 tall up to 5 pounds, and it's still the same $49.55. It's cheaper than the 9 by 9 by 9 smaller box. Okay. Now, 6 pounds. I want to know when it's going to move. Okay. $56. When you get above 5 pounds, which is heavy for a reptile box. Okay. Now you're talking about shipping at the same exact cost of the 9 by 9 by 9 at 3 pounds. So that's number one. 12 by 9 by 6 seems to be that sweet spot up to 5 pounds. These are interesting things to always check. I'm going to revert this back to 3, but I'm going to stick with what I told everybody to pack. Now, I want to discuss movement in the box. When you open a box from somebody like Brett from Bayside Geckos, or let's say Thomas out in Tucson, Bubba, all those, any of those guys, like the animals come in the box and they're not tight inside their enclosure or, their shipping container, but they do have items in those with them so that they cannot move too much. They can't be rattled and shaken and thrown around. You don't want your animal, every time the box is picked up and moved, sliding all over the place. And if you're one of those that just throws the animal in there with nothing, you're making a huge mistake. That animal is subject to whatever movement the external forces put on the box, and then they're just banging around in there. That's not a good thing. You should do better. There's nothing wrong with grabbing a couple pieces of paper towel, folding them up, putting them in there. I like to put one under the animal, and then I put one over the top as well. Gives them the idea that they're inside of a hide. And this is coming from somebody who, I'm not superstitious, so I don't mind saying this. I have never lost an animal. I've never accidentally had one show up not alive. I've never had a problem. So far, so good. And you want to make sure that you have breather holes. Now, if you don't have breather holes, I've recommended this product a bunch of different times. This is an Inwell leather puncher. It has a limiter on it, which means it can even go over your 12-quart tubs and puncture holes in there, and they're nice and uniform because it stops it right back here, punctures there, and you can slide across. You can do this with meal prep containers, making it a lot easier and cheaper to ship with rectangles instead of circles, which is actually going to fit in the box a little bit better, because this isn't a pizza where you put, triangular shaped pizzas into a circle into a square box. You're putting circles into a square, you're going to run out of room pretty fast. So anyway, the Inwell leather punch helps make sure you have breather holes. The animal does not need to be in the plastic container by itself, with no ability to pull in outside air or to have any of its own escape. That being said, another really good tip is to not feed your animals up to 5 days before shipping. If you're doing leopard geckos and they're probably 25 grams and above, they're going to do okay for a day without eating, a week without eating. So I'm not going to speak to, the differences in time periods and hatchlings up to 15 and all that. Everybody has their own preferences. I'm not in charge, but I will take mine off of food and just give them water. That way they don't defecate in the box. It's not great for them to travel around with it. It also isn't the end of the world. But, when you open up a new package and you get something, cool and fancy that you just bought, you don't want to open it up and have a bunch of shit in the box too. So maybe take them off food. Also, if they don't have to go to the bathroom, they might not be as stressed inside the dark shipping box for the 24-hour period that they are there. Moving along to heat, I want to talk about placement of the heat packs. So a heat pack, in my opinion, should either be, if you're having a 12 by 9 by 6, it should be on the side and the animal should be over here. Okay. You could even put a cryo pack barrier in between them, but it should be over here so that they can feel the warmth over there, but they're not baking in it. You don't want it. I wouldn't put it directly above them. Boxes do get pretty packed and tight, and when they get pretty packed and tight, that's when I put it above them. Okay. If I can help it though, side and the animals on the other side. Putting a heat pack on the bottom, okay, for a leopard gecko. Remember, this is a leopard gecko Rocket Topic podcast. Putting it on the bottom is a huge mistake. And the reason for that is heat rises, okay? Heat rising is going to be a problem because it's going to envelop the animal. And even if there's a cold pack right over it, the heat is just a barrier to that cold pack. It's like you didn't put it there, okay? It's not happening. Your animal is surrounded by that heat pack's heat. And that is something that you need to take into consideration over the top or on the side, depending on how much is in the box. And I don't want anybody to panic, except for a couple of things that we need to understand. And I'm going to go to them right now. This right here is a Uniheat Small Pets Shipping Warmer. Okay. These are amazing in that they open up, and when you access them to the air, they have 40 hours, which is enough for 2 days in a shipping box. Okay. 2. They have that time frame at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or for people in other countries like Canada and Europe, that's 38 degrees Celsius, according to the label here. So I recommend these. They are sold everywhere. I will leave it to you to figure out who you want to buy them from. Buy them in bulk and you'll save money. Have them on hands. The 40 hours, 100 degrees Fahrenheit is the right shipping heat source. Okay. Now, this is one that I've seen as a mistake constantly, and it always ends up in tears. Hot hands, hand warmers. Okay. Hand warmers are not a good idea. If you don't have access to Uniheat or if you have a problem getting your hands on them, think outside the box a little and figure it out. There's not a problem with you buying, like, let's say shipping to you is a problem or super expensive. You have friends. You could say, hey, if you're shipping me an animal, do you mind if I buy some of your Uniheats and just throw a couple extras in that box so I can stock them? You could even buy some boxes of them, have them shipped to your friend, which is cheaper. And every time you get an animal from them, you can have them throw extras in that box because you can go up to 5 pounds, right? And it's cheaper than a 9x9x9 at 3 pounds. So think outside the box. You don't have to pay $1,000 in shipping. And some people live in remote areas where it's a little harder to get products. This is going to be helpful to you. Think, use your head outside the box a little bit. Do it. So hand warmers. Why did I bring these up? Hand warmers, and we only need to go. They just similar to the Uniheats. It takes like 30 minutes for them to activate after they've been, touching the air. Most people shake them up, but they have a duration of up to 10 hours, which is, it's not quite enough time in a shipping box, even for one day. The temperature on hand warmers, these hot hands, is 135 maximum average, but they can reach a maximum temperature of up to 158 degrees. So that's an average max temperature of 57 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Celsius. Okay, for 10 hours. Now, imagine that you put one of these under your animal in a small box when you could have had a bigger box and it's cheaper, and it's just baking in 160 degree Fahrenheit temperature or 70 degrees Celsius. That animal is not going to live. It's going to die. Okay, you're going to envelop it in a cooking temperature, something you would utilize to keep really hot food warm in an oven, and the animal's not going to live. So hot hands are an extremely bad idea. These are not heat sources for shipping. One more thing. When you're on a platform hosting a store and you are shipping animals to me or anybody else, one of the things that you should never have is too much pride. Okay? If I bring something to your attention, or if somebody else brings something to your attention and you made a mistake, now it's not a good time to tell me that you have a ton of time in the hobby and, all of your experience trumps what I just told you. I don't care if I've been here for 12 minutes and you've been here for 19. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. And that is okay. No one's perfect. How you handle it is whether or not you're going to grow. So if I say, hey, you didn't put cool or heat sources in the box, and you say, well, I've been doing this for 70 years. What you just told me is that I've been doing this for 70 years, and I didn't consider the fact that the animal could have been delayed in Memphis, Tennessee, where it's extremely hot right now, and that could have killed the animal. Those are the things. You have to remember, there's all these different factors. Where is it stopping? Where's that central hub where it's going to be relocated? What's the temperature like over there? Do I need to put temperature controlled items in the box? I've had people sometimes where I've called them and said, hey, I've checked the entire destination. Do me a favor, don't put heat or a cryo pack in the box. It's not necessary. I would prefer that you didn't ship the animal to me with that. Are you okay with that? And then I wait and listen for their opinion, and they're the ones shipping it. So I look for their guarantees and make sure that no matter what, I said something and I'm covered. Because if your guy has something written down on his bylaws that says he's completely absolved, that changes if I brought up my end of things and said, hey, I looked all of this up and I prefer that you didn't do this action if you normally would because of these reasons. And most people are pretty receptive to that kind of communication. But if it's hot outside, too hot for the gecko, and you have a lot of experience, that's okay, but did you consider a potential delay? And if you didn't, just apologize. Or maybe say, hey, in the future, I'll correct this. I should have thought about that. But saying I have 50 years of experience and don't need to be told how to ship by you, which I hear from people all the time, that is ignorant, and it is not something that's going to be helpful. Just do better. These animals are alive. Why make this content? These animals are alive. They shouldn't be sliding around in boxes, overheated, or not cooled down well enough. This specific episode is about heat, not cooling, so I'm not going too much into there. But I didn't want to leave on a bad note. Good note, uniheats are awesome. They are a 40-hour at 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. I highly recommend that you get some and have them on hand. I've also given an opportunity for you to understand how you might sneak some up to you without having to pay those extra shipping costs. Let's take these things, share them around to your friends. If you want to share this video, go ahead. And I definitely hope and always do want to do right by the animals. It's not about me, my pride, or you and your pride. It's about them. They are alive and they deserve dignity. They deserve to get from A to B so people can enjoy them. I love when I retire a breeder and he gets to go be a pet in a large tank, and I get photos of that. That is awesome. You did your job. You furthered my hobby along. Look at you now. Let's make sure you get there okay. Well, guys, that is all I've got for all of you today. That Gecks out with the shipping topic. I know that says a barren jungle. We'll just delete that real quick. But I just wanted to come on and say thank you, everybody, for watching. This is a little bit longer of a rocket topic than normal, but I had quite a bit to cover. Again, good communications, be humble. 12 by 9 by 6 boxes is like a cheat code. Uniheat heat packs are the right heat packs, and never, ever, 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 ever use hand warmers. Those are for humans. All right, guys, that Gecks out. I'll see you guys on the next one.